Hey guys, it's Jordan. I know it's been a while, but I've been in Alaska, and so I figured I would take this video and just kind of tell you guys what I did. So I will start off by saying that when I got there, it was, for me, I'd been up pretty late, but Alaska's 4 hours behind, so I still had some time to kill. So my brother went and got some food and stuff, and then we just went to his house and just kind of hung out with his dog that he has. His dog is so cute. His dog's named Linus, and he's like a husky, but his fur is gold, and it's just the most beautiful coat that I have ever really seen on a dog. So he was adorable, and I only get to see Linus and my brother once a year. And actually, well, that's because my brother comes to see me, but then I see his dog even less, maybe once every 2 years. And I just love dogs, so that's why it's sad when I don't get to see Linus, but that's beside the point. And that was, I want to say Saturday night, and then Sunday we got up normal time, I guess like 8 or 9 or something, and we actually went to what's called the Saturday Sunday Market, which is basically kind of like a crafts fair, but it also has like fresh fruit, and it has like homemade clothes or like handmade clothes, and it has like popular things around Alaska, like ulu knives, which is when you basically you have kind of a rounded knife, and then you have a bowl, and you go back and forth with it on the knife to dice or chop like vegetables. And so that was pretty fun. We just kind of walked around, and towards the end I ended up getting a ceramic little instrument that like you can blow into, and it'll make different kind of sounds, just because I liked the sounds that it makes, but I can't actually play it, so hey, it's a work in progress. And we got some really good fruit and cherries and plums and jams. We got to taste some jams that they have. And then, and then let's see, we went to a park, and I got to meet some of my brother's friends, and we kind of had a cookout and stuff like that. We brought Linus, but he ended up hurting his paws, so then he couldn't really do much of the rest of the week. And then Monday was one of my favorite days, because we went on this really tiny plane, and when I say tiny, it was like big enough for 4 people, and we went into Denali National Park, where Mount McKinley is, although I call it Mount Denali, because that's what it was originally supposed to be called. There's a whole story about it. But anyway, and usually when you're in planes, you're the one that feels small. You're the one that feels big, and everything else feels small. Well, not in this case. Once you got to the mountains, you felt really small, because there was at one point I looked down, and there was this really, really, really small, like, object basically on the snow caps, and I was like, is that a plane? Like, is what happened, is it okay? Kind of thing. That can't be a plane. And I was like, nope, that's a plane. And it was perfectly fine. It had landed on the glacier so that people could go and look around, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so tiny compared to these huge mountains that they have. The mountains were gorgeous, by the way. That was about 90 minutes, but that was so well worth it. And the sad part was I had more service in about 10,000 feet of air, like cell phone service, than I do in my own house. So from the plane, even though I probably wasn't supposed to, I was texting my mom videos and texting my dad and everyone else I could think of and being like, hey, I'm on a plane, like, basically, haha. And then, that's one of the things we did on Monday. And then, later that evening, we went to one of my brother's friends' houses, and they have a side-by-side, which is kind of like a Jeep thing, and we went off-roading in that. That was really cool. And then Tuesday, I didn't really do much. My brother had to go do some stuff at work, and so when he got back, which was kind of late at night, we actually ended up going to this movie theater pub where you can sit down, watch a movie, and they'll serve you dinner. And it was really awesome. We went to see the movie Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Cheerful title, right? Well, the first half of the movie was hilarious. It was like an updated version of Napoleon Bonaparte. I mean, dynamite. Why do I always say that? I always say Bonaparte. Oh, I don't know why. So just ignore that. But Napoleon Dynamite. And it was hilarious. I think way better than Napoleon Dynamite. So I suggest you guys check it out. It's not really in like every theater. It's kind of a movie that's scattered around, but I think it's worth it to go see. And then we, went and got ice cream, so that was fun. There's not many movie theater pubs. There's only a couple in the country, so that was really cool to be able to do that. And then Wednesday, we actually took a drive down to Seward, Alaska, and because we had a fishing charter that we were going to go on Thursday that was started at like 5:45 in the morning. And so on Wednesday, we drove down and we went to the Sea Life Center, which I didn't expect to be as neat as it was, because it was basically just an aquarium, but there was this one section where you could go outside, and they kind of had an enclosure of all these birds, and you could actually touch the birds. You weren't supposed to, but like you could actually reach out and touch the birds. They had puffins, and they had seagulls and all that, all other types of birds, and they had like, I think it was like sea lions, and they talked about what they do to help rescue animals, and we got to learn facts about this shark that literally has a mouth that looks like a buzzsaw. It has no top teeth, but its bottom jaw like opens up, and it's literally just a buzzsaw. And my brother and I were just like, how is that comfortable? And so that was really interesting. Then we got to stay in this really nice hotel that night for like 6 hours, because we weren't really there for that long. We were just there to sleep and then go on this fishing charter. And so Thursday we woke up ridiculously early to go on this fishing charter, which I didn't think I would like. I was thinking that I would just do it for my brother because we were doing a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. But I actually ended up liking it and catching about 9 fish of our allowed 14. We caught rockfish and silver salmon. So that was good, and that was an all-day thing, and we got to flay the fish, and then we got to store them in sealed bags, so that it would last longer and you could put it in the freezer. And I actually didn't get to taste them because I ended up leaving before we cooked the fish. But I hear they're supposed to be really good. And so that was Thursday, and that was literally all we did Thursday, aside from go out to several restaurants that actually were really good. And then Friday was more of like a chill day. I don't actually really remember what we did on Friday, probably because Thursday was so exciting. But regardless, my whole time was pretty good. And then, I know what I did on Friday. So the entire time I was there. My brother is not someone who took my coming out and thoughts of transitioning very well. And I don't see him that much, so it's really hard to kind of, start to accept that when you're not used to being around that person who is now changing the perspective that you've known them for your whole life. So it's a little bit different. But he started off really good, and then about 24 hours before I ended up leaving, he made comments, and he's gonna be mad at me probably for mentioning it, but I just need to vent and get this out there. I had always encouraged him to talk to me about, his feelings on my transition, and I said, nothing is off limits. Like, really want you to ask me questions and, get comfortable with this or try to understand it, whatever. And at first he started, talking to me about my YouTube videos and how it made him uncomfortable because I was putting my face out there and maybe opening myself up to dangerous people or hurtful people, and he was concerned. But after a while I just said, this is something I need to do. I've talked to several people about it, and none of the people I've talked about it to show any concern for me doing this. They know it's something I'm gonna do to cope with, what I'm going through. And so they were fine with it, and the conversation just kept going in circles. And I understand he cares, and he's scared, and he loves me, and he doesn't want anything to happen to me. So that was nice. But then I was like, please, talk more about my specific transition. Like, talk about me and how you feel about me transitioning. And so it ended up, at least to me, he said, I will never see you as a guy. You were born with an X and an X chromosome, and science, you can't prove science wrong. I was like, but I am not my genitals, my gender is in my brain. Like, there's scientific proof. And of course, then he was like, well, show me the scientific proof. And everything I mentioned to him, he was like, well, where'd you get those sources? Are they legitimate? What are their credentials? And it came to a point where I was just like, if you want to know, then you can do the research. Like, just because I'm transitioning, it doesn't mean I have to hand you all the research on a silver platter. I am kind of handing him the research on a silver platter, in essence, because I'm telling him my story, how I feel, and what's better than to get it from someone who's going through transitioning and transitioning from a female to a male. And I guess he just doesn't see it that way. And I'm not gonna lie, it really hurt. And I said to him, I was mad, and he was like, well, you always do this. You're someone who, if people don't agree with you and your point of view, you shut down and you don't want to listen to them because you think you're always right. And maybe that's true. Maybe that's something I need to work on. But I also, felt attacked and felt insulted and felt hurt. And, these are things that my brother said that I never thought he would say. And so it was just really hurtful. And so, all week I wasn't trying to pressure him into doing anything. And, it started out really good and ended up pretty crappy. And so I was really, really hurt. But after he said, about me shutting down, I let him talk, because he said, oh, if you, get mad at me, then I will never express my opinion. I don't want him never to express his opinion, because people have the right to express their opinion. It's just how they go about it. You really, if you're going to express your opinion and the other person's point of view, at least try to say it in a respectful way or something. I don't really know how you could say that in a respectful way. But, I don't know, it was really hurtful. And so then we were just my brother took some space and I took some space. And then that was Friday night. And then Saturday was actually my last day in Alaska. So we did some tourist shopping, and so that was nice. But I mean, as time went on, I just got sadder and sadder, and I just kind of wanted to get away from my brother at that point. As much as I love him and I appreciate him for having me there, and taking a week off work, it just was really hurtful. And then he drove me to the airport late at night after we had went to the movies and saw Trainwreck, which I wasn't that impressed with, but I guess that's just Amy Schumer's humor that I'm not used to. And so, anyway, he drove me to the airport, and we got, like, frozen yogurt. And, I mean, I'm glad that we did, but it was just, like, again, I wanted to get away from him. I love him, but I'm very hurt by what he said, and I can't help but feel I kind of lost a brother. And I know that'll probably change, but right now I don't even know how to start a conversation with him or feel comfortable talking to him, so just a work in progress. And I'm sorry, I know this is a really long video, and I'm not really doing much of anything interesting. I'm hoping I'll be able to put some pictures in here and there for you guys to look at. But I got home and I was debating whether I should tell my mom what my brother had said or wait and talk to, my therapist and, get their point of view and see what they thought. Because I was worried that if my brother had those points of views, that my mom would have those points of views or my parents would. And when I came out to my mom, a little over a year ago, she didn't take it very well. She said I was choosing to go down this hard path and whatever. And so when I ended up telling her eventually, and she basically said to me, well, there's a lot of people out there like in the world like that. You're just going to have to get used to it. And, maybe she was just trying to tell me the reality, but I already know the reality. I wanted sympathy and empathy, and I got none of that. For me, it felt kind of like a slap in the face. I told you so. This was going to be a hard road. So, I mean, that just made things a little bit harder. But I did have some good friends to support me, so that was nice. I don't know. I'm sure there's more that I could have said, but I'm going to end this now because this video is super long, and I apologize. But anyway, yeah, so, give me feedback, give me your comments, your thoughts, anything, and I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, bye.